All right, so this article came out pretty quickly after the reveal stream, and I think, well, actually, just a day after. And this seems to be gaining a lot of steam as far as controversy goes. I'm sure it's already on Bungie's radar, but if this is true, if there are indeed, quote, unmistakable signs for AI generated art, as is proposed here. I think the user who initially proposed it or accused Bungie is mgecko117. And there was this thread I was looking at here with Paul Tassi and this Scoop fellow who does have some of their own art. Now, I'm not going to trust anything that, a random Twitter account is posting, but Paul Tassi here did go ahead and put this in Gemini 3, and he says, all of these are very likely AI when asked. Statement would be good, but it's obviously a busy day, referring to, of course, how it is a busy day for Bungie. And there's another image in the article I was just showing, but you can kind of see here, I'll maybe zoom in with editing here, you can see two hands here, which is almost always an AI tell. If you ever looked at like early AI images, you would see like someone with 6 fingers on their hand, or they'd have a third arm just out of nowhere. Also, you can see the lightsaber here is kind of just out of his hand, which is a little weird, but this is concept art, so it could just be like an early concept of, oh, this is what he'll look like with this color lightsaber. We don't need the handle because it's it's early concept art. We'll worry about that later. Then you have up here on the second rendering, you have this chain which is going around his shoulder here, but then it just curves this way. This could very well be 2 different versions of Dredge and Bale, done maybe even by 2 different artists. We know from other stuff, other scandals, like the Nerf gun, Ace of Spades, that was outsourced. Very possible that Dredge and Bale's design was outsourced, and whoever did this concept art, or maybe this first concept, or both of them, used AI in some way. I think the artist down here, Scooper, does in fact say that here, definitely not, or in reply to this, I feel like the double hand on the Bale image on the front facing image, his left hand right on the image, surely wasn't made by a human, right? And then Scoop replies, definitely not. Both figures in that piece have an AI base, but the one on the right has little to no human additions to it. Maybe some hand-done color work, but the vast majority is AI. The giveaway for me is the sleeves, the texture, a classic artifacting you get from old models. So, I'm not an artist and I don't use AI, so I'm just gonna somewhat take that person's word, again, with the biggest grain of salt you can find. You can also see some weird stuff here. I mean, this looks mostly okay, to an untrained eye, I guess. You wouldn't really notice anything wrong with this. Also, I have to say that this almost looks like animated drawing of the Guardians. It looks really cool. Rolk's design in general is amazing. And overall, there is a Reddit post that I wanted to pull to attention, because this is true, right? This first sentence that Jaffa Muncher left, that's a funny name. This is such a stupid controversy to begin with. It's a known fact. Bungie have been very anti-AI art, which is true. I'm not going to read the rest of it for now, because that first sentence is really what stuck with me, because they did have a segment where they didn't have any voice actors for Heresy, for particularly Xivu Arath and I think Sloan it was, and they could have used AI voices. They could have gone to scabs who were not part of the SAG-AFTRA strikes, and they could have used those other sources to voice those characters, but they decided not to. Either it was a budgetary restraint, or maybe a time constraint, or both. and they decided to simply wait until the negotiations were done. And to me, that's a good sign that, at least they didn't go to AI there. But when you consider where the studio is at financially, we've heard the reports from Sony how they had a $200 million impairment. Again, I'm not a financial officer or someone who's ever worked in financials for a company the size of Sony or Bungie, but we know that the loosening of the reins for Bungie, it's gotten a lot tighter in the last few months, in the last year in general, because Final Shape didn't do that well, Edge of Fate obviously didn't do that well, so Sony is not giving them too much free reign. As far as that goes, there could be a lot of pressure to just produce stuff quickly, so maybe they did outsource these designs to AI to save a little bit of time and use their artists on different things. But then again, I don't think a studio that has been so blatantly anti-AI usage in almost every other facet would just all of a sudden do that. Of course, this is the same company that has had multiple art scandals at this point with both Destiny and of course the big Art Raiders scandal with Marathon that caused the game to essentially go into a bit of a delay, and that game should be releasing fairly soon, but supposed to release in September of 2025. So, I mean, I don't think a company with so many art-related issues and a myriad of other problems that have happened recently, especially from a PR perspective, is going to do something like this at such a critical juncture. It makes no sense in my head. But then again, most of the moves Bungie has made recently as a company haven't made a ton of sense. So I hope the community is wrong on this. I want it to not be true. But if it is true, then that's going to suck. If they don't roll back this art and actually commission or use one of their own artists to design a new Dredge and Bale, which I know that could take a while. I don't know, maybe you give them like a placeholder thing. I mean, it could be rough because it's legitimately less than a week until the DLC drops. There's not a lot of time to do something like that. And I think, again, if it is true, it's going to be disastrous. And surely after this video, I'm almost 100% positive there will be some kind of post about this, and I welcome that. I hope there is a tell-all, and again, it's confirming there's no AI, but it is so hard to tell. It's getting increasingly harder to tell what is AI and what isn't. And I'm not saying, this stuff, Dredge and Bale, one way or the other, is or is not AI. I might be AI. I don't know. That's how scary it is. But time will tell if it is indeed AI. I don't think they can get away without acknowledging this and, the potential backlash if they don't, because people will maybe refund their pre-orders if they haven't already. People might decide to not buy it because of this. And I know myself, I was excited after the stream. It's usually how the streams goes. You get excited for all this new-ish stuff, but this will completely take the wind out of my sails, and I might not even play, honestly, because the Finals is a game that uses AI voices. I think there's so much voice acting talent out there that you can use for your video game. It is a shame that the Finals doesn't use any of that human talent, right? Instead, they outsource it. And I think the Finals is a great game, but I don't want to support AI art at all in any way, shape, or form. Whether it's character designs, map designs, voice acting, I want to support real human beings, right? That's what I want to do. And honestly, it's one of the only reasons I still play Destiny, is because I know there are human devs behind the game that are, getting a job, they're getting paid to make this game, and usually it's great, and the voice acting is great. Alex Lee is a great pick for Dredge and Bale. He's just a fantastic voice actor. But again, there's just no protecting AI art, in my opinion. I think there are practical uses for AI. This isn't one of them. It certainly is not even close to one of them. But let me know what you guys think about this in a respectful manner. I will try to keep this updated as far as what their response is. I might just make a community post when and if some kind of tweet comes out or anything of that nature. So make sure to subscribe to see a follow-up on that if you're not on Twitter. My Twitter is also in the link below. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Hope you guys have a happy holiday if you're celebrating Thanksgiving, and I'll see you in the next one.